Hi! Today I'm going to be talking about Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Oh, I forgot my shirt. This is a shirt that I sewed a bunch of buttons onto. I don't know why, I just got a pack of buttons and sewed a bunch of buttons onto this shirt, and I decided it would be good. If you've read this, then you probably know why buttons are important. I also covered this desk in buttons here. This is a jar of buttons, another jar of buttons, and also I got keys here. So if you haven't read Coraline, it's about a girl named Coraline who is very bored with her regular everyday life, and then she finds a weird door that leads to another world that is seemingly better. So I gave Coraline 5 out of 5 stars, and I put it on my favorite shelf. It was really good. I highly recommend it as a Halloween read. It was definitely a bit creepier than I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be a little creepy, but I didn't expect it to be really creepy, and then it was really creepy. So I'm really glad that it was, because that's what I wanted out of it. So now to the cover portion of the video. I think it's a good cover. If you look at it closely, you can see little hands reaching for this wooden doll-like figure of Coraline. And I remember the scene from the book. This is the 10th anniversary cover. I've seen another cover and it looks pretty cool. I would give this cover about 5 stars. I'm surprised that no buttons made it onto it. It has a really good feel for the story, and the way Coraline looks in this picture didn't really affect the way I saw her in my mind, so I'm not going to take away points for that. The typography is pretty cool, although when I think about it, I think it feels a little bit out of place on the cover. So now on to my review part. So I think it was a really good story. It was very entertaining, and it's something that made you keep wanting to pick it up. And the world was very creative. I haven't seen a lot of worlds like the one I've seen in this one. The characters, I felt, were a little undeveloped in places, especially near the beginning. It has a lot of good themes and morals involving bravery and love, and it is really, really good. I think it's really important for people to read it, and I would highly recommend it, especially if it's around Halloween time. If you're in a mood for a not terrifying but kind of creepy book that's really entertaining, then this is a book for you. Also, it's kind of like a darker Alice in Wonderland, if you want to read something like that. So I'm done talking about this book without spoilers. If you've read this, then you can keep watching, and if you haven't read it yet, then I recommend you go read it and then continue on with this video. The rest of this video is going to be dedicated to a spoilery discussion, so if you haven't read this yet, you should probably better leave. Hi people that have read the book, or should have read the book if you've watched this far. Am I in focus? It needs to be focused over here. The setting was really interesting, with the house and several people living in the same house that's not exactly an apartment, but kind of a mansion turned apartment place. It has a picture of it on the back, and I'm a little upset because you can clearly tell that it's been cut in half, and the camera doesn't like it, so it's not zooming into it well. The camera's not focusing on it, so you'll just have to look up a picture of it or something. But it's kind of like cut off and you can't see all of it, and that kind of upsets me. The introduction was very interesting. The pictures in this book are really good, and I think they really fit with the story. Here's one. Dog. You can't see it. I'm out of focus. Of a dog. Here's one of the other mother. That's a really creepy picture. I really liked the weird neighbors that Coraline had, with the crazy man upstairs with the mice, and what's their names? The 2 women that lived downstairs. Ms. Spink and Ms. Forkibble. I don't think that's how you pronounce that, but something I noticed was that at one point the door went immediately into the other mother's version of the house, but in the end there seemed to be a big corridor that led between the 2 doors. So I don't know if I just missed something or if that was like development in the story. I feel like Coraline's boredom with her world and her excitement for the other mother's world and her horror at the buttons wasn't really well portrayed. I didn't like, she seemed to be just cool about it. Like, she didn't really She just seemed to be all natural throughout the being bored in her world and being excited when she found the other world. I think you'd be pretty horrified if someone wanted to sew buttons over your eyes, but she seemed to be pretty cool about it. So that's something that I didn't like about this, that I don't think it portrayed her feelings on those three things very well. I felt like she was a kind of cardboardy. I do think she gets better developed after that point. The cat was a really interesting addition to the story. I liked how he didn't have a name. That was really interesting and really different. I liked his argument for the not needing his name. I liked the way the other mother's world worked. It slowly going into mist. It only went so far before it turned into nothing, and then you'd quickly just end back at the other side of the world. And also, as Coraline was doing her scavenger hunt thing, the world turning into less and less real, like it turning into drawing. I really liked that. That was really good. I thought that was a really good way to describe it. That was very, very interesting. It was very neat. The circus scene with the two women downstairs, that was really interesting. I think I'm using interesting too much in this video, but I need a thesaurus. I thought it was very weird in a good way with the dogs being all the audience in the play thing and the play going on forever. That was very good weird, like a good kind of weird. I'm really not kidding when I say that it reminded me of Alice in Wonderland. It really did. I liked how a crazy man upstairs had mice in one world and rats in the other. I liked the little mice thing telling the old man that Coraline was in danger. I don't quite understand this picture too much. I guess that's one of the rats from the other world. I really liked the scene where Coraline was going back into the other world to save her parents. I got a little teary-eyed, not official cry, but a little teary-eyed at her telling the cat the story about her dad and the wasps and the junkyard. I thought that was a really good flashback in there. Am I out of focus back here? If I am, you'll just have to adjust your eyes. I was a little surprised that Coraline didn't notice that the snow globe was her parents sooner. I mean, I figured that out the minute it said the snow globe. I guess most of us did. I guess we were supposed to. In the mirror, when Coraline got put in the mirror, I really thought the way that the ghost kids were described, like Moonlight or something like that. When Coraline and her other mother did the scavenger hunt deal, the first soul kid was a marble. I thought they were all going to be different toys. Like one would be marble, one would be a jack or something. But they were all marbles, except for the parents who were a snow globe. I think that was good, but I think that it might have been a little more interesting to have each kid be something different. Like have one be a marble, one be a jack, her parents be the snow globe. What other teeny toys are there? One be a key or something, like a small skeleton key or something. A comb, something like those. A toy car. I just think that might have been a little bit more interesting. I like the way he did it, but I just think that might have been a little more thrilling. I guess that's the word. That scene where the other mother ate those bugs was unexpected and a little weird, and I think it was a little cliche, but it worked. I like how the other mother's love for Coraline and the real mother's love for Coraline was compared. Her real mother loving her like a person, and the other mother loving her like a possession, like a tolerated pet, like money. I think that was really good and realistic. So during the scavenger hunt, one of the first places he ends up is in the theater with the two women being like a morphed thing in the spider webs. That was really creepy. That was the first like sense of real creepiness in this book, I think. That's when the real creepiness kicked off there, and she had to reach in to get the marble. That was gross. I don't think I would have been able to do that. At least they didn't chase her, but I don't know if that's more creepy or less creepy that they didn't chase her. The second thing she saw was like bloated other father in the cellar. I think that might have been the creepiest thing in the book, was that. If I had to pick something to pick the creepiest scene in this book, it was definitely the one where he chased her. That was really, really creepy. Then like the other mother like choked up a key. I feel like that's another thing that was a little bit much but worked, along with the bug eating. And then there was the other crazy man upstairs who turned into rats after trying to convince her to stay in the other world. I don't think anything at that point would have convinced me to stay in the other world. So I think even being ignored in her real world would have been better than whatever was going to happen in the other world. So I don't think he could have made any good argument for the other world. The other mother was called something. Some kind of creature name. I forget what it's called. I think that part and the part where they're running through the corridor to escape, and it says that the corridor seems to be a thing of itself. I think those two things make me think that this world can be expanded on. Like we could have like a series or a sequel at least about the things. He might have written one. I don't know if he did. So when her parents are trapped in the mirror and they try to send her a message by breathing on the glass and writing on it, in the book it came out backwards, which I think was really clever to do. Here it is. Instead of saying it forward, it said it backwards. I think that was really interesting way to go. I'm really glad he noticed that detail. So in the story, Coraline's parents were in the mirror and in the snow globe and in the corridor, but at the end they didn't really seem to have any memory of any of it. I thought that was interesting. I really liked the escape scene. I never know how characters in books are so good at coming up with ways to get out of those kind of situations. I can never think of anything. That was a really intense scene. I really liked when all the spirits came and helped her. And then after that, when Coraline was finding her own world a lot more interesting, I think that was a really good moral there. And I think it was really well portrayed. So if you've watched this far but you still haven't read the book, you definitely want to leave at this point because I want to have a really big spoiler now. Starting 3, 2, 1... So now I want to talk about the plot twist at the end. I really liked the plot twist with the other mother's hands coming. It made sense because it described it in the thing. Because when the door shut, it said something plopped, and I was wondering, it said something hit the ground, and I was wondering what that was. And then it was like, it's the mom's hand, the other mother's hand. There's a picture of the other mother's hand. Probably already seen it if you've read the book. It looks like a spider. It might as well be a spider for what it does. Look at those nails. They're so long. The hand's so wrinkly and the nails are so long. Then Coraline does her clever thing again and traps it in the well. Something that caught my attention was when it fell, it said she counted to 40 before it hit the thing. And if you think about it, that's a really long way down. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You get the point. Sorry that I dropped you both. Oh, also, in the scene where she was visited by all the kids she saved in her dream, one of them was a fairy-like thing with wings and seemed to be able to fly, which is another thing that I think this world could be expanded on, because it seemed like that had something to do with something outside of the story. Something I really liked about the story was that there were a lot of things that seemed to go beyond these pages. Like the other mother having a name for what she was, and the corridor, and the little girl with the wings. All those things made, and the mice too. The mice seeming to know about all this stuff. It makes you like want to imagine further without like having an unsatisfying ending. I really liked that part of the book. I don't want to use the word like too much, but I really did like that part of the book. I really enjoyed that. I loved it so much. So that's all I have to talk about today. I almost knocked something over. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll subscribe or like or comment or do nothing, because I don't know what else you're going to do if not one of those 3. If you've read Coraline, please share your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't read Coraline, first of all, you shouldn't have watched this far. Second of all, you need to read it, even though you've seen all the spoilers. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos and some of my other book talks and tell me if you enjoyed this one. The air conditioning just came on. Bye. Arg.